I got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day.
It's all about good morning.
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 How you doing?
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Morning.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, the one, the only, the hot ravioli, El Presidente, Julian Nicholas. And I am here with my good friend Adrian. Adrian, how are you doing on this Monday?
Well, I am doing good and dandy. We have the one and only Mr. Nessie and Mr. P on the show today.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Julian, it sounded like you were going to stall out on that intro.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm blazing hot with this on and everything else, so that's probably why.
Flannel will do that to you. Good morning, Mr. Purtleball. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for being here on the Zebra Morning Show. It is another Maestro Monday. It is November 21st, what we like to call a short week.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes, very excited for all the
All the
treats and trimmings.
Yeah, all the festivities that are there.
And you know what? You bring up a good point, Adrian. Speaking of festivities.
We'll make it sweet, we'll make it short. Now here for you is the weather report.
Buenos dias, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing festive about here. We are currently at 23 degrees, and somewhat worry, somewhat fret, we'll be only at a high of 43 degrees. But it's going to be sunny, so Mr. Nessie, you might be able to get a few minutes of that Mediterranean tan you've been wanting.
Yes, I try to keep that up as best I can through the winter months.
Yeah, well, remember not to get too much, sir. Remember that. Remember.
Right, you got to care for your skin, largest organ in the body.
I know.
Or is it outside the body?
Outside the
Good
bar.
question.
We'll save that question for Thursday.
Oh.
Of next week.
Next week, yeah.
This is El Presidente coming to you with the weather report, baby.
All right, let's do our announcements, whatever we've got.
Here you go, Adrian.
All right, it is Monday, and we are going to be talking about the clubs that are meeting on Mondays. So let's start with the Drama Club meets at 254. 42, sorry.
245 to 345.
Yeah.
Real quick, want to also shout out our drama club because coming up very soon is their performance of The Little Mermaid. That is the upcoming musical, and that's going to be on December 8th, 9th, and 10th. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you've got a 7 o'clock show on the 8th and 9th, and a matinee at 2 o'clock on Saturday, December 10th. We're actually going to have some cast members coming in prior to that show, or maybe that week, to sing for us. So make sure you're tuned in and make sure you go support the Drama Club.
We also got, what do you know, the Zebra Podcast Network on Monday from, let's see, from 2:45 to 3:30.
That's right. We got Zebra Drive Time today with your girl Ashley coming at us with a Thanksgiving special, I think. So make sure you're tuned in later today from about 2:45 to 3:30. A little fun in the afternoon. Zebra Drive Time.
Should I pay a visit, or that's just double dipping?
You're not getting. Let's put it this way: I will pay you twice as much as I pay you if you show up again.
Ooh, okay. Mom, if you're listening, I might show up later.
And I think is anything else? If you want to get an announcement on the show, teachers, club advisors, coaches, anything like that, go to our website, zebrapodcastnetwork.com, and we will get your announcement here on the morning show. There's a form you can fill out, and we will take care of you. So zebrapodcastnetwork.com, get your announcements. Teachers, if you want to shout out some students for some awesome work they're doing, we'll do that too. Birthdays, basically, if you tell us to say it, we will. It's that simple.
And now sports.
Well, again, we're in that weird in-between the seasons time. So fall sports are over. Winter sports are about to get underway as we approach December. And we're going to have every morning, we'll have updates from our basketball programs, bowling, winter track, wrestling, and all those teams are preparing for their winter seasons. And we'll have all the results right here on the Zebra Morning Show. That's it for sports. Go Zebras!
Go Zebras indeed!
Yeah. It is Maestro Monday, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a very special guest, Mr. P, on the show. And we have some questions for Mr. P. Julian, take it away.
Why, thank you, good sir. Mr. P, what type of classes do you teach?
Well, I'm a history teacher, and right now I'm teaching all U.S. History 2 classes.
Oh, what made you so interested in history? Because I myself love history.
I'm not exactly sure. All I know is that I've always been interested in it ever since I was a small kid. I grew up in my grandmother's house, and she was born in the around 1903 or 1904.
Wow.
She was born, and so in my household, she always would talk about the Great Depression, about having lived through that, and hearing about those stories from her, and hearing about things such as the First World War, where my grandfather served in, or the Second World War, which was also an important historical event. So growing up, I was always infused with history in my house, and I just really enjoyed learning about the past, and because I think it really gave me perspective on what was going on at any given time.
Side question. Did your grandfather serve in both World Wars or just World War One?
He just served in World War I because by the time World War II came around, he was a little bit too old for it. But he did serve in World War I.
Okay.
Okay. So, my last question and my first question is,
Just ask a question.
yeah, I'll just ask a question. So, my question is, who inspired you to become a teacher, a history teacher? In fact,
I think you were reading off my notes, Adrian.
no, I wasn't.
I could say that I'm not sure if anyone specifically inspired me to become a history teacher, but once I had made the decision to become a history teacher, the one teacher that or the one person who was most in mind when I thought that was I had a history teacher in high school. His name is Mr. Beeman. I think he's still with us. He was a great history teacher, and I had him for a lot of classes in high school. US 2, I had him for European history, and I had him for a few electives in history as well. And just the way that he presented history, the way that he ran the class, his calm demeanor, really made it more real to me. And it was something that now as a teacher I look back and I can see a lot of what I do in class is inspired directly from him or taken directly from him. So Mr. Beeman, if he's still with us, he was a great influence on how I behave as a teacher, how I teach my class.
My question, Mr. Pertleblanc, is if you didn't become a teacher, where would life have taken you?
That's pretty good. I think probably I would be doing something with my foreign language ability. Prior to being a teacher, I was in the Marines. I was a cryptolinguist, which means I used to break codes and translate languages. So the codes would be in other languages, and I would break the code, then translate it for intelligence purposes. Ooh. So I probably would have moved on. One of my options was I was considering moving on to the NSA, the National Security Agency, where I had worked for a few years as the last few years in the Marines. So I probably would have continued in the cryptologic field, probably stayed down in Maryland at the NSA and would have kept working there as a career.
Wow. Now, based on what is it? It's a cryptolinguist?
Cryptolinguist, yes.
I would imagine you have to know a lot of languages or understand them. How many languages do you know, speak, read, write?
Well, I speak, read, and write 7.
Wow.
7 languages. You only need, for the job, you only really need one foreign language because that will be your primary. But if you could gain capabilities in others.
If you want to work overtime.
Yeah, you want to do, be more useful, it definitely helps. And mine I learned from various sources, but I found myself working as a cryptolinguist in multiple languages simply because I could. And that's, always helpful. So, yeah,
What languages do you?
Oh yeah, that was the other part. Yes, starting other than English, German, French, Spanish, Italian, Arabic, and Latin. And Arabic was my primary when I was in the military.
Of the languages you know, what is your favorite? What's your favorite language?
That one's hard to say.
You could say it in any language you want.
Yeah. I would have to say Arabic in the sense that because it is the most challenging of all the languages that I know. It is the most challenging. It's one that requires you to really put a lot of thought into. I could also say Latin for similar reasons because it requires a lot of thought when you use it. But that's not necessarily the question. It was which is the most fun. And so the most fun that I've had is probably Spanish, using that because I really like the going places. I've been around the world, so when I go around the world and speak Spanish to people, and they look at me and they're like, "But you're a white guy. What are you doing? You're a gringo. How could you sound like that?"
Now, so in knowing all of these languages that you know, I would imagine, did that come easy to you, or was it challenging, or?
It was always easy. It was always easy to me. I discovered it. I mean, I was always interested in learning about it as a young kid, but no one in my family spoke another language besides English. But I did have some neighbors, some people in the neighborhood who spoke some German. And my family's German, but they've been here so long they don't speak it anymore.
Right.
And I found that I picked up on it very quickly. And I didn't really think much about it as a kid because, you're a kid. What do you know?
Kids don't think.
Exactly. It was normal, so what would I know? But then later on, when I got to high school and had it offered to me officially as a class, we had German in school, and I started taking German, and I found that I never opened the book, never studied, got straight A's, and everyone said, you sound like you're from there, so please shut up, you make us look bad.
Oh, so my last question on the language, I don't know if they have anything for you. Is there a language that you would like to learn that you don't currently speak?
Well, there are about 5 or 6 that I'm working on at any given time. But Chinese is one that I'm more or less interested in more lately.
Okay.
Russian is one which I've learned a little bit of, and I'd like to go back to and get some more formal instruction on. And there's always one or two that pop up, like Gaelic, just for fun.
Right.
Wouldn't have a whole lot of use with
Yeah.
Gaelic, but just to use Gaelic.
Okay. Back to you, boys.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Julien. Comment ça va?
Oh, ça va très bien, merci. Est-ce que tu étudies le français maintenant?
Hold on, I got to turn on the subtitles. No.
Hallo, Kaffee und Milch, bitte.
Ja, ich habe Kaffee mit Milch gern.
Adrian, what do you want to talk about? Let them chat.
So my question: so, is there any professional career involving history? Is like okay, so let's say you're going to college and you want to study your major in history.
Mhm.
Is there any professional career besides teaching history that requires you to have a major knowledge about history?
There are very few, to be honest. There are very few.
Okay.
One, as you said, it was teaching, but a lot of consulting firms, depending on what they're consulting on. Say, for example, if you're a government think tank, where you'll give the government consultation and advice on how to deal with situations, and there are more than a few, and so that would usually be a requirement. For example, one of my degrees is in Middle Eastern Studies. So, because I've lived extensively in the Middle East, speak Arabic, and so, but in order to do that, part of that degree is also the history of the Middle East, which I was also studying anyway for my history degree. So yeah, you would need a background in history to do other things. To say if you want to talk about economics or politics, any of those fields that where you're gonna need that information, or you're going to need the history. And any type of government job where you might need political science, you would probably also need the history.
All right.
Well, and at least I know what I'm getting my major and minor in college.
Yes, yes,
Glad I
yes.
could help.
Mr. Partaball, when you're not teaching,
Mm.
What do you enjoy doing outside of this profession?
Okay, why are you two? Why do I feel like you two have been reading my notes?
We have.
It's a collaborative effort, Julian.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Let's see. I do a number of things. I like when, say, for example, out of work, I like to first I like watching sports, and I don't really matter. It doesn't really matter too much which sport it is, but my personal favorites are hockey and football. I like soccer a lot too, so I'm really excited about the World Cup
In Qatar, no less.
in Qatar, and my neighbor's there right now. He's over there, so those are things that I like. I like do a lot of reading still. That's fun, and I actually I run a role playing game called Pathfinder.
Okay.
And it's, although I must admit I'm a bit of a snob on my role playing, so I stick with the first edition. They have a second edition now, but I didn't do that. I'm not. I'm old school, you know. And I have friends over. We actually make a play date once a month, and have friends come over, and we just hang out all day long and either do Pathfinder or watch sports or whatever, drink some adult beverages, and just spend the whole day because we all have lives, wives, kids, whatever, and we take one day out of the month just to get together to say that, hey, we need some face-to-face time with each other. Even if we don't do anything, it's not important.
Yeah, it's that sense of community, and that's important. That's
Yeah.
important.
So those are things I like to do. I mean, there are lots of other things that I do, but those are the ones I probably spend the most time on: sports or role playing or reading.
Nice.
What made you teach at New Brunswick High?
That's a good question. Honestly, if you want the honest answer, the answer is I applied to a lot of schools, and New Brunswick got back to me pretty quickly. A few others did too, but the fact that I did go to school here at Rutgers kind of sealed it for me, and plus it was closer to my home, and as I said, since I had gone to Rutgers, I had an idea about the community here in New Brunswick, although it's changed in the last 20 years. But overall, I said, yeah, that's something I really want to do. I like to work in New Brunswick because I like New Brunswick, the whole place. And that was really it. Just having been here, having gotten to know the place a little bit when I was here for a few years at school, really made me to pick this place. Plus location at the time, it was the closest one.
Nice.
And how long have you been here at New Brunswick High School?
This is my 24th year
Wow.
at New Brunswick High School. So so 23 full years here. So I hope that means that I've been here longer than any student I might have, because if they're 23, 24 years old and still here, that might be a problem.
Now, Mr. Pertable, you teach history,
Yes.
and as I was saying to these guys, they haven't had you, which means odds are there's a lot of students who might not get the opportunity to have you as their teacher. We're going to obviously open the mic up to you. What words of wisdom, advice would you like to impart on our student body?
Oh, my Lord. Just in general or about history?
In general.
In general. I would say basically what I would like to impart to people is that think of life as a marathon. It's the long game. It's not about what you're going to get next year or next week or in 5 years, although those are good things to have goals. Set your goals, for 5-year goals. Where do I plan to be? What do I plan to be doing? But I would say understand that it's a marathon. It's a long race, and you will probably not end up where you plan. I mean, if you had told me, before I joined the Marines, because I grew up in Detroit, from there, not from New Jersey, if you would have said to me, yeah, you're going to become a school teacher and you're going to teach in New Brunswick for 25 plus years almost, so what's my plan, and you're going to live in Pennsylvania where I live, and all these things, which are all true, at that time I probably would have had a violent reaction. I'd have probably smacked you around a bit or something like that, because I was a much more violent person in those days. But back in the day, I hated kids, I hated school, and the last thing I want to do was teach. But now, many, many years later, I realize I love what I do. I think it's the greatest career in the world. I've been blessed to have 2 careers now that have been really awesome. I mean, every day in the Marines as a cryptolinguist, I loved it. And I did so many things while I did that I never could have imagined, traveling around the world, learning 7 languages, all that stuff. So just understand life is the long game. It really is about the long game, and always just be open to an opportunity. You never know where it's going to lead you. Don't say I'll never ever do that, because you just might, and you might find that it really is rewarding. So that's really the big thing. It's the long game, and just be open to opportunities because you never know where they're going to go.
I want to say I'm glad you took the opportunity to be here with us today. And based on what you shared, I hope that you'll accept an invitation to come back and tell us some more stories.
I would love that. That would be fun.
Awesome. Do you guys have anything else for Mr. Pertlebaugh?
Nope. I'm all out.
I actually do have one more question before we wrap this up.
Excellent.
My last question is.
Is it the last question or the last first question?
Yeah, the last, the last
Don't you mean
question.
the last second question?
The last question. So, how many languages have you learned throughout the Marines, or how many languages are you currently speaking right now?
Well, as I say, I'll claim 7.
Okay.
I'll claim 7, but there are probably about 7 or 8 more I can kind of work in.
Okay.
So, for example, if I hear Russian, I taught myself Russian when I was young, but never really got a chance to use it, so I've forgotten 90% of it. But when I hear Russian, say, for example, I hear another teacher speaking Russian, I can understand what they're saying, which is really strange, because if you were to ask me how to say it, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
And I imagine, like, Latin, knowing
Yeah.
Spanish, some foundational languages
Yes, exactly.
that can help you.
That help me even if I don't, quote unquote, know even a little bit. I can make heads or tails of. But yeah, there's again about 6 or 7 more that I can kind of function in to at least to say hello, good morning, I need help, something like that.
Okay.
Nice. Well, Mr. Pertlebaugh, thank you again for coming in for Maestro Monday. It has been an absolute pleasure because I'll be honest, we've worked together for 10 years and I learned some new things about you today.
Well, I'm glad I could help out. This is my first podcast, so I'm also very pleased to see what it's all about.
Nice. And it won't be your last because when you have a wealth of knowledge, we need to tap into that.
Okay.
So that's it for today. We're going to be back tomorrow. It's a short week today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about stuff tomorrow. So start spinning your wheels, boys. What are we going to talk about on Tuesday? Think about it. And tune in tomorrow for the Zebra Morning Show. Wave goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Zebra Morning Show.
Do us a favor and tell someone else about us. The word of mouth is the best way to help us grow.
Be sure to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram as Zebra Podcast Net.
Please consider subscribing and following us. The Zebra Morning Show is live streamed each day, and we're available as a podcast. Go to zebrapodcastnetwork.com/subscribe.
If you want to get involved with the Zebra Podcast Network, see Mr. Nessie.
Have a great day, Zebra Nation. See you later, ladies. Bye-bye.